So what I have here is the brand new Insta360 X4, but what are the actual upgrades and is it that much better than the X3? In today's video, I'm going to share my reasons to upgrade or to buy this as your first 360/action camera. Let's get into it. The first and the most obvious reason is the improved resolution. So the X3 has 5.7K up to 30 FPS, but with the X4 now we have 8K up to 30 FPS, which is 78% more resolution than we had on the X3. So this is the Insta360 X3 versus the Insta360 X4. Are you able to spot the differences between these two cameras? Both are shooting in 5.7K at 30 FPS and both have the exact same sensor. We also have 5.7K on the X4, but this time we get twice the frame rate, so 5.7K at 60 FPS compared to the 30 FPS on the X4, which is a big improvement if you prefer to shoot 60 FPS videos. And this is what 5.7K at 60 FPS looks like, and this is what you probably want to use if you upload a lot of videos to social media, because it looks more natural because of the 60 frames. And the advantage with this is that you can also slow it down in post if you want some slow motion B-roll, for example. So with the X3 being limited to 30 FPS, you will need to drop down in resolution to get those 60 frames. And talking about slow motion, the X4 does also have 4K 100 FPS 360 videos, which is just crazy. This is one of those things I've missed, I guess. We have all these cameras with 4K 120 FPS, but to be honest, I never use them because, well, I don't do sports, so the only time I use it is when I show you examples in my reviews. That's the honesty when it comes to a 120 FPS 4K from these action cameras. But this 360 slow motion, like actual slow motion that you can reframe how you want, it's amazing. Now, bullet time is also something I don't use because it's not really my thing, but if you do, you now have 5.7K 120 FPS over the 4K 120 on the X3. And another massive improvement in terms of resolution is Me mode. The quality differences between these two, well, you can see for yourself. My wife is having the single lens mode, Me mode, in 1080p 30 FPS, and I'm shooting here with the X4 in 4K 30. And one of the main reasons I think you should use Me mode on the X4 is the quality, of course, but it also keeps track of you. No matter how you move the camera, you will always be in frame. The other cool thing is that you can use the exact same clip for 16:9, 9:16, or whatever aspect you want, because you can change that in the app or in the Insta360 Studio. Now, we also have a boost in time-lapse and time shift, so 11K time-lapse now, up from 8K on the X3, and also 8K time shift compared to the previous 5.7K. Now, when it comes to battery life, we have a bigger battery on the X4 with approximately 67% more record time than the X3 in 5.7K 30 FPS. And one thing I do want to say though is that I have been beta testing the X4 for about 9 months now, and even the earlier models of the X4 performed much better than the X3. And over these 9 months, I've had my X4 overheat once shooting in 8K 30 FPS, no overheating in any other shooting mode, but 8K 30 FPS, I had this overheat once, and that was when we were in the Maldives, which was extremely hot, and to get 16 minutes of 8K 30 FPS footage in that environment, I think that was pretty decent. Now, when it comes to overheating, I was able to record a video in 8K 30 FPS for 16 minutes and 17 seconds before it overheated. So when it comes to the new heat dissipations of the X4, I think that can be compared to the Go 3, for example, which I've never had any issues with either. But X4 versus X3 in terms of battery life, the X4 records longer in 5.7K 30 FPS and about the same 90 minutes in 5.7K 60 FPS. When it comes to features, we do have the same features as the X3, but we also have some new features like voice control, gesture control, AI highlights, lens selections, and free frame video. So for voice control, you can now stop and start recording, take a photo, or turn off the camera by using voice commands. And the same concept goes for gesture control, but here you use your hand to stop and start recording, and to take a photo you show a peace sign. And for those riding a motorcycle or do any activity where you use gloves, this is a fantastic feature that makes it easier to capture videos no matter activity. As for AI highlights, this is something you would use if you record longer videos, so it will basically make these highlights in your video, which will be added to the AI editing in the mobile app later when you edit your video. And free frame videos, which basically shoots normal videos, but you have the ability to change to different aspects like 9:16, 16:9, or 1:1, for example, and this also in 4K 30. And just like the 360 videos, you can also add that horizon lock in free frame. So no matter how you rotate the camera, the horizon will always be level. Now, one of the interesting features is the different lens types for 360 videos, which we didn't have before. Even though you can adjust the framing in the studio or mobile app to kind of get this super wide look, the more you adjust the frame, the more pixelated your edges will be. So by selecting between these different lens types before you shoot a video, you can actually get a super wide look with less distortion and less pixelated edges. So we have this new mega view now, which has less distortion at the edges, which ultimately provides a better overall image. And just in case you have any questions related to the studio or mobile app when it comes to editing, there's no real difference between these two cameras. So if you're familiar with how to reframe and edit videos in the studio or mobile app, the experience will be the exact same. But we do have a new update for the Insta360 Studio, which I will cover in a separate video. But the main difference now is that you have a separate timeline where you can edit your 360 videos and add text, music, and transitions, and so on without having to export the clip first for then to drag it over to your editing software, which is fantastic. But I will have a more in-depth video on this coming soon, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss that video. Now, the big question is, should you buy the X4 if you already have the X3? And is it worth the extra $100? It's not like if the X4 is better, because every new model will be better than its predecessor. So the X4 is better than the X3. But the question is, how big of an upgrade is it for you and your needs? For me personally, this is better in all ways. And the fact that I can get high quality 4K 30 FPS footage when I'm out hiking without doing anything, no reframing, nothing. Only thing I have to do is to select me mode and hit record. But of course, the main reason to consider or to get the X4 is going to be that 8K resolution. And I do see a clear difference between these two cameras. So instead of having that 1440p final output we had after exporting the 5.7K footage on the X3, we now have a closer to 4K look in the center of the frame instead, which is huge. And I think that is the biggest reason of them all to consider the X4. It has better image quality. Your exported video or your final video will be of higher quality than you get with the X3. So there you have the biggest differences between the X3 and the X4. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a like so this video can reach more people. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos on the X4. So that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Bye.